Hey there everyone, it's your friendly neighbourhood Pyro BonOakley, and I have a very genuine question for you all. What in the hell is the Manmelter actually good for? I'm being genuine right now. Is there really any use for the Manmelter alongside the other weapons the Pyro has, and does it really have anything significant to make it stand out from all the other flare guns the Pyro has already? Well, today I'm going to go through the specifics of the Manmelter and compare it to the other flare guns Pyro has to see how it stands against them. So, what does the Manmelter do? Well, of course the Manmelter shoots a projectile just like any other flare gun, but the stats for it are that it has a 50% plus projectile speed, which is helpful if you aren't that great at aiming. The Manmelter does not require any ammo either, which is great since you don't have to worry about running out at any time. The other unique feature is that it has the ability to extinguish teammates to gain critical hits if it can be stored. This is certainly unique, especially compared to the other secondaries the Pyro has. The only downside for the Manmelter is the fact that it does no random critical hits. So from the sounds of it, the Manmelter sounds pretty good, right? Well, in my opinion, not really. I do believe that the other flare guns can do its job much better and has much better uses. First off, I don't really think the unlimited ammo is really that great of an upside for the Manmelter. In fact, for me personally, I never run out of ammo for the flare gun or any of its variants when I use them. While it's nice to know you can use it without worrying about the ammo, it's not really that useful and so never really comes into effect for most players. Well, at least for more experienced Pyro players. Another stat that doesn't really make the Manmelter all that special is the 50% plus projectile speed. While yes, it can be useful for successfully hitting more targets, there really shouldn't be much trouble hitting them in the first place. I mean, for starters, the flare gun is at most a mid-range weapon, meaning the enemy you're aiming at shouldn't really be that far away to begin with. And while the puff and sting tactic is a lot harder to pull off, it's still a tactic that works well, so the flares are especially good up close. In all honesty, the only kind of situation I can see the speed boost being a benefit at all is against an especially fast enemy such as a scout or spy, or an enemy that's quite far away. However, if they're that far away to begin with, then they shouldn't really be a priority for you, as a sniper is great for taking them out, and scouts can get closer much faster than a pyro can. And extinguishing teammates is a pretty pointless mechanic when every flamethrower can do the same. Well, except for the Detonator, and that's because these two were released in the Dr. Grogbot Moonman pack. Yay, pointless trivia. So yeah, in all honesty, this set is pretty much the sole reason the Manmelter has the extinguish ability. Well, that's the only reason I can think of, because when paired with any of the other flamethrowers that isn't the Flog, the ability to extinguish is pointless. Well, that is of course unless you like to store the crits to use due to the Manmelter not having random crits. But even so, every other flare can get random critical hits, so no random crits is definitely a detriment to the weapon, even though random crits aren't usually that common. So now I've ripped the Manmelter a new butthole, what does the other flare guns have that make them better choices? Let's begin with the original flare gun. Like I already said, the flare gun alongside a detonator and scorch shot can randomly crit, so they already have that one benefit over the Manmelter. The flare gun's only ability is to be able to crit enemies that are already on fire. Now that may not sound like much, but the fact is the flare gun has no other useless stats and no other downsides to it, making it a great choice. Now I've talked about the detonator before in multiple videos, but never compared to the Manmelter. So the detonator has the same sort of gimmick as the flare, however it will only do mini crits rather than full crits. The detonator also has more downsides than the Manmelter, doing minus 25% damage to enemies, as well as having a plus 50% damage to self stat, meaning you will take more damage. So if it has worse stats than the flare gun, then what exactly makes it better than the Manmelter? Well, due to its name being quite fitting, you can detonate the flares as long as they're still travelling, making for an explosion of fire. This can deal damage to multiple enemies at once rather than having to target a single enemy, which is great for areas where you have to defend or are being attacked by the whole team at once, giving you an advantage over both the Manmelter and flare gun. Oh, and of course flare jumping, but you already knew that. And finally, the Scorch Shot, a fantastic flare gun which is about on par, if not slightly better than the Detonator. It shares the mini crits on burning players stat with the Detonator, however the flares will knock enemies back if hit directly, and upon hitting the ground it will explode, igniting enemies around it. It will also do more knockback damage on burning enemies, making it a really good weapon for pushing enemies back from objectives. You can also sort of flare jump with this too, however it is slightly weaker at doing so than the Detonator. So if you want to do that, then the Detonator is certainly the better choice. The downside of this is the fact that it does minus 35% damage, making it weaker than the Detonator, as well as minus 35% self-damage force, which contributes to its weaker jumping ability. So overall, I believe the other flare guns have better uses than the Manmelter, as well as having just better gimmicks and abilities like the aforementioned flare jumping. Oh god, that hurts my throat. However, I'm not saying that the Manmelter is completely useless, as I'm sure there are plenty of examples that I haven't seen that prove that the Manmelter is worth using. This is my own opinion, of course, and I would like to know yours down below. Consider giving this video a like and sharing it, as well as subscribing for future content. And as always, this has been your friendly neighbourhood Pyro BonOakley, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.